Okay, good morning and welcome to this very quick lesson on how to create a simple keyring using Tinkercad. Now, this lesson will teach you a few things: how to join shapes together, how to work accurately, how to use the align tool, and also how to be creative to create an outcome as well. So, I've got two examples here that I've created before using my initials. We've got this simple R. If we look at 3D inside a ring, and then we've also got another ring here, what the keyring can go into. So to do this one, what we will do, first thing is we will look in our basic shapes. Now, from previous lessons, you'll know that this is where you find your shapes. But if we come down here, this shape here is really useful. It's a tube, and it's a quick way to make a circle with a circle inside. Now, what we need to do first is when we bring it in, we drag and bring it in, we see we have this little slider tool here that is sides. And if I zoom in, I can see that my circle's got some jagged shapes here. So, jagged edges, sorry, not jagged shapes. And what I want to do is I want to increase the size to the maximum amount. And that will give me a nice smooth circle now. So that's nice and smooth without those jagged edges. What I'm going to do also is I'm going to adjust the radius here. So I could drag it out or type in these numbers here. But while this box is up, I will put the radius as 15, enter, and it'll get a little bit bigger. Actually, maybe go a bit bigger than that. Let's go for 20. And also the wall thickness is the thickness of this part here. So it's 2.5 millimeters at the moment, which is quite small. So I'm going to pop it at 5 millimeters and press enter. And that gives us a bit more of an area to join things to. I'll drop it down to 4 actually, just see how it looks better. That looks a bit better. So now we have a ring. We can just minimize this to get rid of it. If we then just shift our view to 3D view, what we're going to do is we're going to change the height of this tube to the material, same size as the material we'll be laser cutting it out of. So this will be laser cut from acrylic, and the acrylic will be 3 millimeters in thickness. Now, it's always a good idea to change the size to the size of the material you're working in. It's just good because you get a good visual representation of what that's going to look like. Okay, so next job is we're going to create this little part here. And again, that's just pretty much a repeat process. Drag the tube in again. This time I'm going to reduce the size down, probably to around about 8. Let's press enter on that. Okay, and I'll probably just increase the wall thickness just a little bit, maybe to 4. Let's have a look. Okay, that's probably a bit too big. Let's try 3. Okay, perfect. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same as I did before. Oops, forget one thing. Increase the sides, so a perfect circle. And then I'm going to tilt the view so I can see it in 3D. Now you'll have noticed that I've been working pretty much using the top view. And I do like using the top view when I'm drawing things out because it's nice and easy to use. But remember, if you are using the top view, you use this little button down here to switch between orthographic and the flat view. Okay, I like working like that so I don't get any of this sort of 3D detailing here. It's just easier to see and easier to work with. So again, I'm going to move this across here. I can click and drag with my mouse, or I can use arrow keys on the keyboard to get into place, but like playing Pac-Man. But the most important thing now is to have this so it's overlapping very slightly. Okay, I don't want it like this. I kind of want it just so it's touching that curve there. You can put it where you want. You can put it above. So if I wanted to put it in above, I could do that. And remember from previous lessons, if you want it in the center, you could click it all like that. Go to the top, use the align tool, and then just click this dot here, and it aligns to the center. Okay, but for this example, I'm just going to have it offset a little bit like that. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just check. Yes, they are the same level. And if I change the color, I can also see that glitch kind of effect I've talked about in the past. That means they are the same level. It's really important at the same level because if they're not, when we laser cut it out, it will just chop this part off. So let's do that now. So select them both like that. So they're both selected, and then I go to here and group. So now when they turn one colour, you can see that that line has disappeared and they've been almost what we call welded together or just formed together. So it's now one continual outline that the laser cutter can follow and cut out. So that's your basic outline shape. Now to get a letter in there, you have numerous things you can use here, hearts, stars. What I would say though is avoid using things like this. Because we are laser cutting, anything that doesn't have a flat surface, like this, will not work. Okay, so avoid these sort of 3D objects. It needs to have a flat top, completely flat top. So we get rid of that one. Okay, so I'm going to find the letters. Let's just drop that back. And I'm going to go into text and numbers. So in here we have the letters of the alphabet, really useful. I'm going to find my name, my initial, which is R. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to first make it the right size that fits inside this circle. So I'm going to select it, hold down the shift key, and I'm going to drag and make this bigger. Okay. Now, the reason why I hold the shift key is because it avoids any of this sort of squidginess. Okay, we don't want that. It doesn't look very good. We want to keep it in proportion by holding the shift key down. Now, with Tinkercad, when we make things bigger, it also gets thicker. Okay, and that's important to remember. So if I drop that down now to 3 millimeters by clicking that and typing 3, it's now the right height. I can see that by looking at the front. Okay, everything's lined up the same height. And what I can do then is I can put it inside the circle. Now, what we want to do is we don't want it floating in the middle, because when we laser cut it, it will come out separate. We want to join our letter to the edge of the circle. So again, what we can do, we can use the align tool to make sure that R is in the center. So that's in the center now. And I can see it's touching at this point here and this point here, and very little at this point here. So what I could do is just very, very slightly make it a little bit wider and a little bit taller. Okay, just so I've got a bit more area here and here and here, so it's touching. Then I'm just going to do one final check and check that everything is the same height. It is, because I can see that we have that glitch. There we go, that little glitch there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to join those together. So highlight them all, click join. Okay, and now it has gone to one color. These lines have disappeared, which means that that is our keyring with our name initial in there. Now, what you can do is you can think about those ideas about joining shapes together. And if you want to add more challenge to your design, you could put shapes together like I've done here. You can add different letters in. So RR is my initials, so you could do initials there. There's a possibility as well that you could probably bring letters in. Let's say like this, there's some random letters. Okay, RPU, not sure what that means, but you could then highlight them all and change them all to 3. Okay, now they're all the same height. And what you could do here is you could make like a chain of letters, I guess, where you could just join the letters together to create like a letter chain. And if you use the arrow keys, you can also change the grid as well to make it a bit more finer, so you can adjust things a little bit finer like that. And you can line things up really accurately like that, and I could just tap that there, and you could then use that tool and you could join them together. So, and then you could probably put a little tube on the top there, and that could be part of a keyring. So you can see how creative you can be with just joining the letters together. Now, when you come to save the work and send it to the laser cutter, what I want you to do is on your page you'll have one design, but if you have multiple designs, you have to select the one you want. So you click it, and then what you'll do is go along to the top and click export here, and you want to export it as an SVG. So it says for laser cutting, you click SVG. That will then download that onto your computer, and then I will tell you in the class where you need to put that in Teams, so then we can get that file and then we can laser cut that for you.